So this was the file which we made yesterday, email.java, and I was talking about the Firefox profile, right? That is how to create a Firefox profile, how to get a Firefox profile and start the browser in a particular profile. What I'll do is I'll create a new Java project right now, call it day 5. And include the Selenium Java files. Moin, yesterday you were encountering some error. The thing was you had included these two jar files for Selenium, okay, but you also have to include the files inside the lib folder, okay. You have to go inside the libs directory and include these jar files as well. Alright, so we created a profile called June Weekend yesterday for the Firefox browser, and we created the object of profiles ini class. Then I created the object of then from that all profiles I got the profile June weekday in the Firefox profile object, and after that I have linked this with the WebDriver. I have two-step driver that whenever you open Firefox, open this profile. To understand that, you need to understand the concept of constructors in Java, right? So I'll create a new class called, say, car. Okay, in Java I created a class called car. In this class, suppose I write in number and string name. Okay, so this is the car number, this is the string name, right? So if I create a class called test car, and I create the object of this class, I write car C equals to new car, say C1, and I can initialize the object like this, that is C1 dot name is say BMW, C1 dot number is some number, right? Similarly, car C2 equals to new car, right? And C2 dot name is say Steve. Right. So if I create, if I create 10 objects of this car, I will have to initialize the properties of the objects separately in separate lines. Okay. So this is a hectic thing, right? So what I want is that the car object should be created and it should be initialized right away. Okay. For that we use constructors. Alright. To initialize the object we use constructors. So why constructors are used? Constructors are used to initialize objects. So in this car class, okay, suppose I write public car. This is the constructor of this class. A constructor of the class has this name same as the name of the class and has got no return type. Okay, this is the condition, that is the name should be same as the name of the class and there should be no return type. Alright, so in testcar.java, if I write new car and in car class constructor, I write system.out.println hello. Alright. So whenever I create the object of the class car, whenever I write new car, the control will go inside the constructor. Alright. Let's see that. If I run this, it prints in the console, it prints hello, because I created the object of this car class. That's why it is printing hello. If I create 3 car class objects, the constructor will be called 3 times. So constructor is something which is called when you create the object. Okay. So in this constructor, right? In this constructor, so in this constructor, when it is called on object creation, in this constructor I can write number equals to 11 and name equals to BMW, right? So in your test car.java, if I write car C1 equals to new car, car C2 and car C3, then what will happen is that all the 3 cars which we create, the object we create, will have the number 11 and the name as BMW. Okay, so if you write over here system.out.println C1.name, C2.name and C3.name, and you run this, this will print BMW for all the cars. But we don't want this. Maybe we want a different name for this car, a different name for this, a different name for this. But the constructor, it is giving the same name. So for that, what we do? We overload the constructor. This is the concept of overloading. That means we keep the name same, but arguments different, like string n and int number. Okay, we overload the constructor. This is the car class, which is having car constructor, which is having the string n as an input argument and int number as the name of the car. So this constructor takes in 2 arguments, and out here I can write number equals to num and name equals to n. Okay, now when I create the object, I'll create the object like this. I will pass over the name and the number, the name and the number, like this. Okay, you create 3 objects of the car class and you put 3 different car names and 3 different numbers. What will happen is this will go into the property when this object is created. This will go into the string n property. Then the 12 will go inside number, and this is how the object will be initialized at the time it is created. Okay, when you run this, it prints this thing, different car names. Okay, so you can overload the constructor. Alright, now the catch out here is, be very careful. That is, if I will just comment this code. Okay, basically we saw constructor as something which helps you to initialize your objects. Okay, if I am having no constructor in the class, if I am having no constructor, then this constructor is known as the default constructor, which takes in no arguments, is known as the default constructor. Okay, then what happens is that the default constructor, it is hidden. Okay, that's why I am able to write new car again and again. What does this call? This calls the default constructor, but it is hidden when there is no constructor in the class. But in case we make the constructor and we overload the constructor, alright, and I don't write the default constructor. That is, I am overloading my constructor, but I am still not writing the default constructor. In that case, I will get an error. So if you are overloading a constructor and you are using the default constructor, then you have to create it. Okay, if I don't create it and if I don't use it, then it's fine. But if I am using it and I have the overloaded constructor with me, then I have to make the default constructor myself. By default, if the class is having no constructor, the default constructor is hidden. But if the class is having some overloaded constructor, then the default constructor has to be written. Okay, in case you are using it. Similarly, one more overloaded form can be public car, which just accepts the name N. Okay, so this is name equals to. So this is again an overloaded constructor which just takes in the name of the car. It doesn't give the number to the car while creating it. Okay, right. So this is the thing. The first thing which we studied was constructor helps you to initialize your objects. Number one. Secondly, constructor it can be overloaded, right? Overloaded constructors can help you also initialize the objects. Okay. Thirdly, if you are overloading the constructor, then you should create the default constructor. Okay, if in case you are using it in the client program, right? And fourthly, you need to understand the concept of this keyword. Now, what if I have the arguments like n and num over here? What if I give the arguments like this, name and number in this constructor? I'll write name equals to name, number equals to number. So what is this? These two are arguments and are local arguments, local variables, but their name is same as the global variables. So by writing this thing over here, what I am trying to tell Java is that this global variable number equated to this global variable number, and this global variable name equated to this global variable name. That's what I'm trying to do, right? But the name of the local variable and the global variable is same. If I do like this and I run this code, okay, let me just comment this, and I run this code, it prints null for all three of them. It never prints the name of C1, C2 and C3. Okay, this is because this local variable, it hides the global variable. By writing this, what I am practically telling Java is that this name is equal to this name itself. Okay, and this variable is getting hidden, right? So out here we use the this keyword. What we write over here, this dot number and this dot name. Basically what this means the current object. That means the car number for the current object is equal to the number which is passed over it, and the car name for the current object is the name which is passed. So this way I am able to tell that this number is the global variable number and the name is equal to global variable name. Okay, right? So now if you run test car, it will work fine. It will print the names BMW, Mercedes, and all. Right? Okay. So this is about the creation of objects. Right? Now let's go back to our file, that is gmail.java. I'll copy this into day 5. Now out here we created the object of Firefox profiles. Then we got the object of Firefox profile equals to all profile dot get profile June weekday. Now out here I am creating the object of Firefox driver. I am calling the default constructor. Okay. If you go to the documentation of Selenium, hold on. This is the documentation of Selenium. Okay. Guys, I don't have much time with me today. I have to leave for some place, so I will be just taking class for 30-35 minutes. That's it. So this is the documentation of Selenium, and in this, if you look at the Firefox driver class, then this is the constructor summary of Firefox driver. Okay. Every class has a constructor summary in Java docs. The first summary is the field summary. This is the global. These are the global variables in this class. Okay. Then there is a constructor summary which defines the number of constructors. This is the default constructor, and all the other are overloaded constructors. One of the constructor is this one, which is Firefox driver, and it accepts the object of Firefox profile class. Right? So if you look at this, we already have the Firefox profile object. You just have to give the object over here. Now Firefox will open this particular profile, that is June weekday. Now suppose what I'll do is I'll just close it. I'll open this profile manager, go to my June weekday profile and just install Firebug in it. Okay, I go to Google and type download Firebug, and I download Firebug over here. Oh guys, I'm using the older version of Firefox because I was working with QTP. Hold on, let me upgrade it. It will just take 1 minute. Okay, in this, hold on. So I'll start my June weekday profile. I'll go to Google and simply write download Firebug and go to Firebug website, and I download it and add it into Firefox. Restart your Mozilla, and now in this particular profile I have Firebug installed. Okay, so I'll close this, and when I open this profile with the help of code, now I have told my Firefox driver that this is the profile you want to open, right? So when you run this particular profile will be open. You see that this particular profile is open and I have got Firebug inside it. So on the fly, on the browser on which I do the testing, I can also investigate the elements, right? Because at times you require this. At times, suppose the script fails on this page, you need to investigate the script, the page. So you can simply use Firebug. And moreover, this profile, it is very helpful in overcoming the the certificate error problems. Alright, at times you get certificate errors, especially in HTTPS websites. So I'll talk about that. So to handle those errors, you actually use the Firefox profiling concept. Okay, so that's all for profile. Okay, now I want to take up one more topic. It is very simple for Java, related to Java, right? When we are creating the code out here, okay, the topic name is exception handling. All right, I'll just create a new class called exception underscore handling. Okay, I'm over with this Firefox profile. I'll come back to it when I tell you about the HTTPS websites and the certificate errors and all. Okay, so if in this, I'll just create this class and tell you about a small concept of exception handling. If I write over here int I equals to 9 divided by 3, okay, and I write system.out.println x or A and B. Okay, if you run this code, this prints A and B. Alright, this is printing A and B, right? If in case I write 9 divided by 0, what will happen? If I run this code, I will get an exception. Exception is an undesired state in which your program goes into and terminates. Look, A is only printed and B is not printed. Okay, so this is a major issue, right? Because at times you are doing the testing and some exception came up in your code. You want the code to continue. You basically want to report an error and you want the code to continue, right? Suppose I am executing 3 test cases in sequence, okay, and exception comes in this one. So I don't want my batch execution to just stop on this one. I want that error should be reported and the flow should continue. the third test case should start, right? So basically I should be able to recover from this exception. So what we do is we use the concept of try catch block in Java, like this. We keep a try block and a catch block. Okay, so I write system.out.println in catch. Okay, so in try block we keep the lines which are capable of throwing an exception. Okay, so when I run this code, it prints A in catch and B. So whenever an exception comes up, it goes inside the catch block, right? After going inside the catch block, maybe you can report error here and continue forward. Okay, if there is no error, if I just write 9 divided by 3 and run the code, it will just print A and B. Okay, but if there is some condition which is coming up, some undesired condition, then the control will come inside the catch block. Now what is this exception E? Okay, a question being asked is that does this mean that all our test cases should be written in try? No, it depends. We don't write all the test cases in try catch block. I'll talk about the test cases when I talk about JUnit and TestNg. There are assertions and all also over there, right? It depends on your scenario. Suppose I am verifying the title of the page and the title of the page is not matching, and that error is not so serious, so I can use try catch over there and continue with the flow. Okay, but suppose if my link is not working and I am not able to go to the next page, then there is no point in continuing the flow of the test. You stop the test, you report the error, and you continue with the next test, right? So I talk about those scenarios, right? That will come later on when I cover JUnit or TestNg. Okay, it depends on what you are testing and how and what do you want, right, on your application. Okay. So this is the exception block, right? And what is this exception E? Whenever an exception is created in Java, right, this the object of exception classes is created in the memory automatically, and E is the object reference of that object. So if I write over here system.out.println E.getMessage, this will give you the message of the error message. Okay, whenever you run this, you get the error message is that it's divided by 0 error. Okay, or if you write E.print stack trace, in the console it will print the complete error message, that is arithmetic exception divided by 0. It is coming on the line number 9 of exception handling.java. Although it is executing the code completely, A and B both are getting printed, but by typing E.print stack trace, you can also get the line number on which the error is coming, the exception is coming. You click on this line number and that line number will be highlighted. Okay, so this is about exception handling, right? And there is more to exception handling which I'll cover later on. Okay, when we come across such scenarios, right? For time being, just understand exception is something. Exception is something an undesired condition. You can put a try catch block and control will come inside exception block. Now inside the try block, if I write system.out.println A1 and A2 before and after this line on which the exception is coming, sorry, right? So when you run this, it prints A, A1 and B. A2 is not printed. So the point to be noted here is that all the lines after the line in which the exception is coming are not executed. That is, all the lines in the try block, okay, after the line on which the exception is coming are not executed. Okay, so if the exception comes on this line will not be executed. But if the exception doesn't come, If the program runs normally 9 divided by 3, this will simply work. Okay, so this is about exception handling, and